Hello, happy Wednesday. Welcome to Melissa Chambers Consulting, Wednesday Words of Wisdom. Today, our title is "'Tis the Season," and then things to look out for. So, I think everybody is, starting to get ready, if not for Thanksgiving, at least to start getting ready, thinking about the holiday season because it is approaching so quickly. It's hard to believe that this is November 20th. And I want to tell you that this is a time that people in the senior living industry, my industry, get super busy. And the reason why is because after, whether it's adult children that live out of state or out of town, come home for the holidays to visit, or even adult children that live in town but maybe don't go to their parents' house as often, or maybe their parents come to their house or whatever. You're going to their house, or maybe they need help with something or help with decorations, and you're going and spending a little more time than usual at their house, and you start to notice things. And this leads to phone calls to people like us in my field. And so I just want to tell you, when you're home visiting, some things to look for. Is mom or dad's house kept the way it usually is? Now, again, there are exceptions to everything I say. As we age, there's one or two people living in the house. We don't clean the way we used to. A lot of times I'll hear people say, well, you could have eaten off of my mom's floor. Yes, that is probably true. And it's also probably true that mom is not going to be cleaning at the age of 80 or 75 or 90 or 95 the way that she used to clean. However, she is going to still keep up with her house a little bit to some extent. So if the house is not kept up at all, if mom or dad is not kept up at all, a lot of times we'll hear families say, mom would die if she knew she looked like this. She would never let herself look like this. So things like that, things with their grooming, their hygiene, the way their clothes look. Do their clothes look dirty? Do their clothes smell dirty? Do they have a smell or an odor? Look at the bathroom. Does it look like it's being used? Is there soap in the shower? So oftentimes we hear, like, I looked and there's not even soap in the shower. So clearly they're not using it, or there's not even body soap in the house. So things like that. Looking for briefs, pull-ups, depends, whatever you want to call them. Are they in the house when they weren't before? Are you seeing them in the garbage can when maybe they don't really belong in the garbage can in the house? Maybe they should be outside, the used dirty ones. So things like that. Looking at their hair, if it's dad, is he shaving? Does he have cuts all over his face? Do they have bruises on their arms, on their legs? Do they look like they're limping or in pain when maybe they aren't usually? That could be an indicator of falls. Nicks on their head, or, those little tears on their arms. They have, their skin gets a little thinner, and so sometimes you see bruises and bumps and tears, but, is it more than usual? So things like that. You just want to be aware. You just want to pay a little bit attention. And trust me, I know this is hard to do because, and it could be whoever you're talking about. It could be our parents. It could be our aunt or uncle. It could be our spouse. It could be a brother or sister. But these are people that, we're just used to. They're just there for us. They do things for us. They, we don't have to look after them usually, but it's time that we, maybe it's time that we do. And so we just want to be aware of the things to look for. when the holiday season is approaching. And I'll try to talk more about this. I'll try to think of some more ideas. This is just off the top of my head. I'm not thinking of all of the things, but, looking, are they holding on to furniture everywhere they walk in the house? Maybe they need a cane or, something to help them walk with. So things like that are, just some things to look for. So as the holiday season comes and goes, if you are seeing things, are they asking the same questions over and over again? Are they saying the same things over and over again? Are they asking you to repeat yourself? Are they do they seem to not know what you're talking about or who you're talking about if you're telling a story? Those are things also, to look for. Do they seem down, just not really involved with the conversation? Things like that. So just things to be aware of. So contact me with any questions as the holiday season comes, and if we see these things, if we're noticing these things. There are a bunch of resources on the website, especially the form that you can take to the doctor's office. So you can contact me about that if you don't know what it is already. It's just melissachambersconsulting.com under the resource tab on the menu. But I'm always here for questions, concerns, anything. So please don't hesitate to contact me. All of our contact information is up above on this page. You can call, email, text, whatever works best for you. All right. I hope you have a great day, a great week into the weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.